18 teams have made their way to Las Vegas for a Thanksgiving week college hoops feast as we welcome you to the Geico Players Era on TNT. 9 games today between TNT and True TV. First up, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights out of the Big Ten and out of the SEC, the 20th ranked Tennessee Volunteers from MGM Grand Arena. Welcome courtside, everybody. Brandon Gaud and Candace Parker, happy to be with you. This should be such a fun event. Year 2, Candace, of the Players Era. We're going to see some of the best players, some of the best coaches in the college game.
Yes, and what a time to measure where your team is at. As a player, you want to play the best, and in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. And in this Players Era tournament, we'll see that at the end of this weekend.
And with Tennessee, we're going to see one of the best freshmen in the country, Nate Ament. He can do it all.
Yes, and you all need to remember this name. First time away from Tennessee playing, first time on the big stage, 6'10", small forward. Turned down the likes of Kentucky and Duke and chose Vol Nation. I think him and Gillespie could put the Vols back competing for a championship. And Coach Peichel, only 4 returning players from last year, 7 freshmen, 3 transfers. They're very much still figuring it out, coming off a tough loss versus Central Connecticut, where he challenged his team to play harder and rebound.
Let's get you to the starting lineups for Tennessee. Jacoby Gillespie, he's the head of the snake, a veteran point guard who transferred in from Maryland. On the side of Rutgers, again, scoring has been an issue at times, but the guy who can fill it up, Dylan Grant, the sophomore from Canada, at almost 17 a game. Our officials, DJ Karstensen, Nathan Farrell, Owen Short. Players Era 2025 from Vegas. And off we go. Rutgers coming in 4-1, a tough loss last time out to Central Connecticut State. Vols coming in a perfect 5-0.
And as you know, as a player, when you are coming off a tough loss like Central Connecticut and your coach does a press conference like he did after that game, you understand the level of intensity in practice. And so we'll see in these opening minutes if Rutgers can translate that.
Again, this is the end they've had issues with, and not a good start. Akpara comes over and erases it. That guy can rise. Felix Akpara at 6'11" inside. Here is Gillespie, mentioned the transfer from Maryland. Skips it over, Abram.
And again, the Volunteers top in assists, sharing is carrying, and I think a lot of that has to do with Gillespie being at the helm right there. That shot didn't go, but Ament passed up an early 3 to get an easy, open catch-and-shoot 3.
On the other end, 3-pointer off the mark from Butterlow. Francis gets the bounce, and there's the first bucket of the game.
And that's a big deal right there. Tennessee prides themselves on controlling the glass, defending. So that's a good sign for Rutgers on that second chance point.
For both teams, their first power conference test. Gillespie lines it up, and Jacoby Gillespie knocks it down.
And Gillespie, as we know, transferred from Maryland. Tennessee native, coming back to play for the Vols. I think he's a great compliment to Ament. He played with the likes of Queen last year, understands do-it-all power forwards and small forwards.
Well, and for Gillespie, big shoes to fill, right? Zakai Ziegler, Tennessee legend, is done, and now it's Gillespie's show.
Yeah, well, you talk about key losses. Ziegler, Mishak, Lanier, as Akpara knocks down that 3. We don't see Akpara take many threes. It's a good sign for the Volunteers offense this early.
Small sample size, but the big fella 3 of 5 from long range now in the year, and Tennessee opens up a 6-2 lead.
And I think the biggest question for Tennessee at this point in the year is they've played 5 games at Tennessee. As you get that offensive foul on Abole, that's Rick Barnes right there.
Yeah, back-to-back Elite Eights. We're going to talk about it, but there's so many great coaches in this event, and he's got the most wins at 841 of all the active D1 head coaches.
And more than the wins, Coach Barnes signing that lifetime deal is just the type of human he is. He is one of the best guys. He loves his team. He loves his young men. And it's more than just basketball. And you see that in the Kelvin Sampsons and the Bill Selfs of the world. It's an honor to be able to coach these young men.
And good to have those guys around in this new world of college hoops. There's a foul that will send it the other way. It's on Cade Phillips. And there's Steve Peichel on the other bench. That loss to Central Connecticut State, it hurt extra for Steve Peichel because that was on his birthday, his 58th birthday. So he was very angry last Friday. Knocked out of bounds. But for Steve Peichel's team, Candace, and you kind of hit on it, the question for them this year isn't on the defensive end. It's can they score the ball, and that'll be something to track here today. And
Francis and Grant are going to have to be the two that can score the ball. As you see, Tennessee applying pressure with the full court press to Rutgers. They're going to have to figure out how to get into the lane. I think early against Central Connecticut, Rutgers settled for a lot of threes. They made them early. Well, there was a lid on the basket late, and you can't just pass around the perimeter. You got to get into the paint, draw some defenses, and get some catch and shoots.
This is one of those guys they need to score. Tariq Francis at 15 a game. Cutting inside, Grant had it stripped by Gillespie.
And Tennessee's defense holding opponents to 34% field goal percentage. Obviously, some naysayers can say they haven't played anybody, but I don't care who you're playing. You're holding your opponent to 34, you're going to win some games. And
they're holding Rutgers to 1 of 5 from the floor, make it 1 of 6. Another miss from Bunnello. Gillespie, preseason second team all SEC. Got it between the rings. Crossover, knocked free. Francis is a good defender. He's all over him.
And Rutgers can defend. They get out, they pressure, they make reversals tough. It's almost like they're playing a mirror image of what Tennessee likes to do. They love to get out in the fast break and capitalize off of those turnovers. And they're going to make it tough once they set their defense.
Well, that has always been Steve Peichel's DNA. Before coming to Rutgers now in its 10th season at Piscataway, defense is the thing that makes the Rutgers engine go.
And as you see, Ware coming in early, got some time against Central Connecticut. The bench brought Rutgers back into that game with their energy and their effort.
And there's the guy that can fill it up, Dylan Grant, the sophomore from Canada, with the and one.
And Dylan Grant doing a great job putting the ball on the floor, getting to that right hand, attacking the foot speed of Carey and getting the and one. Amen. Reached in on that.
Yeah. But Carey gets the first personal, as you said, guy who spent last year at Vanderbilt.
You know, there's times where you know that something is going to be on the film session the next day. I think that play might be on Rick Barnes' film session for freshman Nate and Mint.
Into the front court and bumps. Berg gets knocked down by Dylan Grant. Careless first foul. But Tennessee, 3 turnovers their last 4 possessions, so a little wobbly here early for the Vols.
And if there's any criticism on Tennessee early, it has been the amount of time that they're turning the ball over. They average almost 15 turnovers per game. And a lot of that, I do believe, comes with the familiarity of others. You had a Zakai Ziegler, who is a steady Eddie. He's been at the forefront of your offense for a very long time. Gillespie coming in, trying to learn what exactly Rick Barnes expects.
Well, that's new age college basketball as Rutgers drops into his zone here. Carey out to Berg. He can fill it from deep. Off the mark.
And Rutgers doing a great job boxing out in that zone. It's really difficult to rebound.
Francis, step back. Does not get the bounce.
And it just seems like Rutgers getting good looks on the offensive end. They're just not dropping.
Here is Ament, quiet early, gives it up to Gillespie. Penetrates, somehow got it up to the rim. Eventually Rutgers carries it out of there. Buchanan, 8-10 transfer from George Washington, too strong.
And right there, I'd love Buchanan to just put his head down and get to the rim.
Steve Peichel's trying to emphasize that with his guys. Don't settle, get to the rim, get fouled.
And Amen, let's see him be a little bit more aggressive. Gillespie's the only one that has gotten to the paint against this zone defense. They want them to settle as Gillespie shuts me up and knocks down the 3, but Tennessee has to figure out a way to penetrate this zone and get into the teeth of it. so that they can continue to dominate in the paint like they've done early in the season.
A 3 for a 3, the answer from Grant. You're right, though, about the penetrating for Tennessee. All 9 points behind the arc so far. On the baseline, curls the pass around. Boy, Ament passed up a pretty good shot.
Ament can't pass that up within the offense, because now they're going to take a desperation shot at the buzzer from...
Well, Gillespie came to play.
Once again. But Nate Ament has to take that corner 3. I don't care if you missed 15 before that. That's a good shot within the Tennessee offense.
But Jacoby Gillespie, the senior, the veteran, one of the leaders, is hot early as Akpara picks up the foul and sends us to our first media timeout. But Gillespie feeling it early.
And Tennessee, 4 threes, 12 points. A lot of that has to do with the play of Gillespie.
Tennessee up 5 early, game 1 here in Vegas. Let's go over and welcome in third member of our crew, Nabil Kareem.
Hey guys, Nate Ament has been a huge talking point all season, and this is really impressive. He gained roughly 20 pounds of muscle since committing to Tennessee. I talked to him about it, and I said, what was the hardest part? Was it the lifting? He goes, no, it's the eating. He's consuming 5,000 calories a day. It's almost like a full-time job to hit those numbers. And it's not grilled chicken and broccoli. You got to mix in some calorie-dense food to offset how much he burns on the floor. The team dietitian, Amanda Fernandez, has been a great resource there. He also gave a lot of credit to Tennessee strength coach Garrett Maidenwald, who's kept their freshmen kind of locked in and accountable in the weight room, making sure all those extra calories, guys, are being put to good use.
Good use, yes. Body looks great. We know how talented he is, but he's passed up a couple of early looks.
Yeah, we want to see those muscles take some shots in the corner, especially when you're wide open. You're only 0 for 1 from the field. You got to be aggressive.
Top 5 recruit, some believe best that Barnes has signed since Kevin Durant, as this one goes into the backcourt. And an early tie-up here out of that media timeout.
That was great hustle from Boswell's. Boswell's back from injury, played the first 2 games and has missed 3. Looks good. Right foot injury, but looks back and healthy. Diving for the ball. Coach Barnes calls him the best defender on the Tennessee team, which is a tall task considering they've been one of the top 10 defenses since Rick Barnes has been there.
Yeah, didn't know if Boswell would play today, said he was available. Obviously, he is going to play on the floor right now. Late in the shot clock, here is Boswell fading away. Offensive board inside. Akpara with a follow.
And why not? Just toss it to yourself.
Just padding his stats down there, the big fella.
And that's the thing that Tennessee has really added this year is depth at the 4 position. You think of Akpara getting in foul trouble in last year's NCAA tournament. Now being able to have the depth of a Carey, being able to have the depth, you know, to be able to bring in size when Estrella was out with his injury. So that is definitely a benefit of the front court for Tennessee.
That's the other name, J.P. Estrella. We're told he's available today, may not play. He's dealing with a knee injury. We'll see if they get him out there. That's going to be an offensive foul, a little push off from Jamichael Davis. And guess what? There is J.P. Estrella. So Boswell and Estrella apparently both good to go.
And Estrella went down at TBA. Looked like a scary knee injury.
They thought it could be season-ending when it happened.
To be young, Brandon. That's what I will say. To be young again.
Bouncing back 3 games later, and here he is. But he adds a lot, 14.7 rebounds a game.
Well, his activity in the front court gives Tennessee another dynamic.
Well, they went right into him, but then an offensive foul on Carey, and that's 2 on the big fella, Jalen Carey. His second personal, but this is where that front court depth you talked about really comes into play.
And right here, Estrella, great, powerful move. Carey just nudges Buchanan Jr. and doesn't get away with the shove.
So number 6 in white, Dwayne Brown, young freshman, checks in. Big kid, 6'8", 250. Been a struggle on this end. One field goal the last 6.5 minutes for Rutgers. And an early bump and a quick foul for Dwayne Brown.
Tennessee's number 6, Dwayne Brown, the second, his first personal, team's 5th.
Tariq Francis, transfer from NJIT. Buchanan, hanging. No, missed everything. Was saved by Woolley, but he saved it to Gillespie. Euro step for 2.
And Gillespie doing a great job of getting out on the break, finishing with that nice Euro step. He's having himself a game thus far.
Of all the guys out there, you can tell he's the senior leader. He's got him on a 10-2 run right now.
There's 11 early points.
Francis splits him. Shot clock down at 5. Francis contested, but they're going to get Gillespie with his first personal.
And I love that Francis did not settle for that jump shot. He took it into the teeth at the end of the shot clock. But right here, Gillespie doing big things for the Volunteers. 11 points early, has Vols up 16-7.
TNT presented by Sam's Club. Tennessee up 16-7. And Jacoby Gillespie's outscoring Rutgers all by himself. He's got 11.
And Jacoby Gillespie has been that guy that has opened up things for Tennessee. It's an early game. Sometimes it's a slow start. You depend on your leaders to take you home. 3 early threes, 11 points, has done a little bit on the defensive end. Gets that fast break going, but Tennessee has prided themselves in the paint. Gillespie's opening things up outside, which I think can prove to help Tennessee later dominate inside the paint.
All Big Ten at Maryland last year. That team that went to the Sweet 16. His head coach Kevin Willard left, went to Villanova. He looked for a new home. Rick Barnes needed someone to replace Zakai Ziegler, and Gillespie is that guy.
Yeah, replacing the likes of Zakai Ziegler.
Not easy, right?
It's not easy.
It's like replacing a Candace Parker. It's kind of tough, right?
Well, Coach Barnes always talks about how Zakai became like a son to him. And I think in Vol Nation, everybody understands the heart and the effort that he played with. So Gillespie wanting to take on that challenge says a lot about him.
By the way, first time you've ever worked a Vols telecast.
This is the first time.
Everyone trying to come over, take pictures with you that's wearing orange in the building today.
Well, there's a lot of volunteer love. You can't miss the orange.
We've seen a lot of late shot clock possessions. Gillespie pulled up from Reno, left it a little short. Offensive rebound, though. Inside, forcing the issue a bit. Amari Evans doesn't get a ton of playing time. It will stay with Tennessee.
And let's give credit to a Rutgers defense that has held solid as well. I mean, Rutgers defends, they're physical, they're aggressive on pick and rolls. And so for this Tennessee offense, they've had trouble getting the ball in the paint.
Yeah, a lot of buckets outside. A lot of them from this guy. This time at the rim for Jacoby Gillespie.
You know, Bole is frustrated with the call, but the best thing to do is on that switch out, there was some confusion on the Rutgers side. Nobody guarded the ball, which is the most important thing. And Gillespie smart, just cuts in.
Candace, this is what Steve Peichel was worried about, his big fellow Bole picking up fouls against Tennessee's front court. Bole to the bench with 2. And as you see, Jacoby Gillespie, the couple of years at Belmont, then Maryland, and now finishing his career in his home state of Tennessee. A little backcourt pressure for the Vols.
I look for Francis to get some things going here as they need him to step up. As it looks like you got Akpara.
No, they got Amari Abram.
Amari Abram on the grab.
And that's 7 fouls on Tennessee, so bonus the rest of the way for Rutgers.
And that is a great sign. Now Rutgers has to do a great job of knocking down free throws. They shoot 69% on the year, but a way to get your offense going is to get easy baskets. And that's to get to the free throw line with 10 minutes and 37 seconds. So if you're Rutgers, you cannot settle for outside jump shots.
Freshman Haroon Zerno. What a friendly bounce. TNT Sports coverage of the Players Era is presented by Sam's Club. Join Sam's Club today. Celebrate the season of yes and say yes to everything you need and want for the holidays. They missed that one. 1 of 2. By the way, you might notice on the bottom of your screen, Tennessee, the number next to their name went from 20 to 17. New poll release, and they climbed 3 spots. And Nate Ament climbs for his first bucket.
Ament doing a great job of slowing up, absorbing the contact, using that extra 20 pounds of muscle to finish through the contact. See, I like that for Rick Barnes. Taking Ament out, having a conversation, and then immediately comes back in and is aggressive on the offensive end.
Yeah, I think Rick Barnes said, hey, kid, you're out there to score. Go score the ball, and he did. Three from the wing. Zerno knocks it down. Boy, Rutgers needed that.
They needed that 3 up until that point. Now they're 50% from beyond the arc. Early ones did not go down.
Still Vols by 8. Ament this time from distance. And Buttolo with a rebound. Lob attempt too tall. Grant can jump, but he needed a ladder to grab that.
And Ament right here doing a great job of slowing up, absorbing the contact. But what I loved is that he's going north and south. He's not going east and west. He's going to the hoop, and he's making you guard his length.
6'10", Rick Barnes has talked about how he can hang in the air, and you saw it there, letting other defenders fall and still able to finish it. He's not passing up the shots now, and that one drops.
And you're seeing a different mindset. 1, Gillespie knowing that he needs to get his guy going. And 2, Ament not hesitant to take those shots.
The lead is expanded to 11. Buttolo has it knocked loose. Picks it up, fires. Foul on the rebound. That's going to go against Nate Ament, his first.
And right here, if you're Rutgers, offensively, Tennessee's defense is built to try to make you go one-on-one. They want to take you out of the continuity of their offense. They want to make ball reversals difficult. If you're Rutgers, you got to take care of the ball and you got to try to get into the paint and get to the free throw line.
Yeah, because Rutgers, a team that doesn't shoot it well from outside. You're right, they've got to find a way to get points at the stripe, and they'll get there right now with Zerno. You do notice, Candace, just looking out on the floor, the length of Tennessee. It's much different than the Scarlet Knights.
Yes, the length at every position. You talk about Nate Ament being 6'10", playing the small forward for Tennessee. You add that with Akpara's size, Phillips, what you're bringing in off the bench with Carey, Estrella. I mean, Tennessee's front court at some points in the season last year, it was difficult when players got in foul trouble. This year, they're able to come at you in waves.
Gillespie wants 3 more. That shot is so pretty.
And that flare action has proved to be successful in this Tennessee offense. Gillespie taking a page out of Ament's book. That was the play down. He called his own number the last time.
Jacoby Gillespie, 4 of 6 from range. He's got 17. Buchanan kicks it up top. Almost turned it over. Buchanan this time to the rim.
And Buchanan doing a great job. Obviously, the defense was stretched out to half court with that pass, able to attack the closeout and get to the paint.
Here's Gillespie. It's Jacoby Gillespie's world, and we're all just living in it, folks. He's got 19, and we haven't even played 13 minutes.
Jacoby Gillespie is putting on a show of getting to the rack or knocking it down from beyond the arc.
He is playing like a guy possessed right now as Abram picks up his second foul. Timeout. How about more Gillespie highlights?
Well, Gillespie doing a great job going up 2 on Rutgers by himself. Knocks down his fourth 3. And then again, the biggest thing is you got to get in amongst the trees. Makes Rutgers pay. Tennessee 29, Rutgers 17.
You are watching the Geico Players Era on TNT. Well, you're home for the holidays. You need something to watch. Don't worry, we got you covered. We have all these games coming up, and this is just today, Candace.
Yes, and we got a lot of buckets, a lot of wins in this tournament, and I think it's again a great gauge of where your team is before you go into conference play.
And for Rick Barnes, he has to like what he has seen so far. First time that they have faced a power conference opponent this year, and his Vols are up 12 behind Jacoby Gillespie.
Well, if I know anything about Coach Barnes, he's not happy about that foul that was 25, 30 feet from the basket. I'm sure he spoke to his team in the huddle. They have a tough task ahead of them this week. They face Houston tomorrow. And so at times, sometimes you're coaching for the game you're in, but you're also preparing for what you're going to face in the future.
Yeah, what a matchup that'll be tomorrow. Elite 8 rematch between Tennessee and Houston. Steve Pico's crew, they're just trying to find their footing. They only have 2 assists, 5 of 14 from the field. They do have Zerno at the line.
And Zerno missing 2 free throws. And if you're Rutgers, you got to capitalize on every trip to the free throw line.
How do they stop this guy? Gives it up, Amen. Penetrates on Buchanan. Buchanan all over him.
And Buchanan doing a great job of standing him up. That's the one thing that taller players that are dribbling don't like.
Phillips now back inside. Akpara and the foul. That length of Tennessee just a little too much right now for the Scarlet Knights.
And Akpara hanging out in that dunker spot. Phillips with the hustle play, and then again right here. A nice rip, strong move, no layups. I think Phillips liked it too.
All the Vols celebrating. Akpara's second year at Tennessee after 2 at Ohio State. Completes a 3-point play, and now Rutgers in a big hole here, down 15.
And Rutgers trying to beat this press with one player. Davis settles the offense. Let's see what Rutgers does out of this timeout, because they need to find some ways to get into the paint. And if they are going to shoot from beyond the arc, let it be catch and shoot threes, not off the dribble.
This is one of their good scorers. Grant gives it up. Zerno knocks down a triple. He's a freshman, but he's 21 from Bosnia, committed to Indiana, backed out of it, and now at Rutgers. He can shoot it.
And you're going to see a lot of players from overseas joining the ranks of college, as Rutgers has a couple. But Zerno doing a great job, not backing down, not shying away because the ball hasn't gone down. He is one that can knock it down from beyond the arc, as Rutgers definitely needs to be able to extend Tennessee's defense to even be able to get into the paint.
It's a good point, though, about the European players like Zerno. He's playing in Bosnia, realizes, well, now with NIL, I can make more money going to the States, and so he comes over here. It's a different era. Amen, double team. Every time he catches it, they're on him. Down the lane, He got pushed.
And early on, seeing Rutgers' physicality with Amen. They're trapping screens. Abole doing a great job of not fouling as he has those 2 early fouls. Again, gets into the paint and is able to get to the free throw line, but Rutgers did everything but finish that play. That was a great defensive effort if you're Coach Peichel.
Bill talked about the muscle that he has put on since coming to Tennessee. But I will say this, 6th game of the year, Ament hasn't faced a team as physical as Rutgers, so this is a kind of a first for him.
And Ament, the thing about freshmen when they come in, usually there's a difficulty with getting to the free throw line. Ament naturally gets to his spots and is able to capitalize at the free throw line as he gets that rebound.
Now another opportunity for the Vols. Amen in rhythm, buries it. Way to foul away from the ball. I think they're going to count the basket, say that Amen had already released it.
Previous play is under review.
Now they're going to go and look at it. They got the foul on Dwayne Brown of Tennessee. We'll see if they count the basket. That's 2 on Brown.
And Dwayne Brown trying to get early position for the offensive rebound. I don't think there's anything extra there other than just a loose ball foul. Count the bucket and go in the other way.
This is not a challenge. Remember, new to college basketball this year, coaches have challenges. This is an official review. DJ Carstensen, lead official there, talking to Rick Barnes. And yes, it is a common foul, and I'm with you, Candace. I think that's the right call.
But because Rutgers is in the bonus, it will send Butterlow to the line for some easy 2s. During that possession, Butterlow was battling Tennessee's bigs with everything he had. It was good to see him be rewarded with these free throws.
That 3 does count by Amen, so a 16-point lead.
Back for the Vols, JP Estrella.
Another kid from overseas, and Dennis Butterlow, he's from Romania. Played in Italy the last 4 years before coming to Rutgers.
And there is an adjustment. The international game is played differently. And the only similarity I would say is in terms of the physicality, the ability for the defense to be physical and, you know, dictate direction. It's a little similar in college, but adjusting to international game and coming here has gotta be a challenge, especially this early in the season.
Amen downtown, he hit another, he's starting to heat up.
And Amen not shy. I think that's why all of us were saying, don't pass up open shots, young fella.
He's got 12 points, all of them coming after Rick Barnes gave him a stern talking to about being more aggressive. And here we go. Amen rises and lays it in.
And right there, doing a great job getting out on the break. He's guarding the 3 position too. We see a lot of players that play the 3 but guard the 4. No, Rick Barnes has him out on the perimeter defending away from the basket.
Between Gillespie and Amen, they've got 33. Buchanan, and they're going to get a foul on JP Estrella.
And at the beginning of the game, Nate Ament passed up an open look in the corner, went out, had a nice little talking to with Coach Barnes, and he has been aggressive and been rewarded since. Played well on the defensive end, got that steal. He's doing a little bit of everything now.
Well, again, many believe that he is the most talented Rick Barnes recruit since some guy named Durant back in '06. And you think of all the players Rick Barnes has coached, that's really saying something.
And what's been so amazing to watch is Rick Barnes' offense has been on full display the last 2 years with Dalton Connect, with Chaz Lanier, and now we're seeing it with the pin downs that he's running for Nate Ament. It's Kevin Durant-esque.
Well, it's fitting that Ament's favorite player is Durant. They've got a similar build.
He's got big shoes to fill.
Yes, yeah. We can't give him that crown yet.
Give you Durantula yet.
Slipping inside, Boswell. Boy, everything inside is just a battle. And after all of that, they're going to get a foul on Boswell in Tennessee.
Boswell stuck his hands in the cookie jar about 90 feet from the basket, and Rutgers is in the bonus, and they'll get rewarded at the other end again. Woolley going to the free throw line.
Rick Barnes, very stern with the sophomore Boswell.
And Rick Barnes, a lot of respect for Boswell, calls him the best defender on the team, and he told him straight up, you're not gonna get it. Don't stick your hand in there and risk a foul.
TNT Sports coverage of the Players Era is presented by Lilly, a medicine company, and also by Geico. It feels good to Geico. Chris Woolley is from right here in Las Vegas, born and raised. Excited to be back home. A lot of friends and family here today, but he can't convert at the line. Another foul inside. This one is going to go against Ware of Rutgers.
Now number 15, Javonte Ware, his first. Team's 8th.
1-1 for JP Estrella.
And it's good to see Estrella out there getting some run, Boswell out there getting some run. Because the Volunteers are going to need them healthy to have a shot at going deep in March.
When you think about Estrella, remember last year he missed all but 3 games with a foot injury. Then he comes out this year, injures the knee. Still got the brace on the left knee, but able to play and hitting both at the line. Butterlow starts to penetrate. Akpar is such a good shot blocker. Gets it out, 3 on the way, and that drops for Tariq Francis.
And right there, penetration. Butterlow doesn't take a contested pull-up. Francis pulls back for the U-turn and gets the nice catch-and-shoot 3.
Number 0 in red, he's got a scorer's mentality. Led the America East in scoring last year at NJIT. What a first half for this man, Gillespie. And he's going to get to the line here, drawing the foul on Francis. First game here in Vegas on a loaded day, a loaded week of hoops, and Tennessee flexing their muscles early against the Scarlet Knights. Folks, check out the Geico trophy that the winning team here in Vegas will receive. That is some serious bling.
Some bling bling. That's nice.
That is something. That is bedazzled. That's what the winner will get here later this week in Vegas. So the format, 18 teams. The matchups for today and tomorrow are known. Then after tomorrow, all 18 teams will be ranked by record and tiebreakers, and then you will find out the matchups for Wednesday and Thursday after that. And you see that note at the bottom. Teams are earning NIL money for showing up at this event. You could win up to $2 million if you win the event. So there is definitely something to play for these programs.
Little moolah never hurt anybody. It's nice this era of college athletics.
Yeah,
I'm
imagine.
not jealous. I'm not jealous
Yeah,
or anything.
I was going to say.
There's no jealousy. I'm not mad at the era I
imagine,
played
Candace,
in.
when you played, explaining that this event would happen someday and how far the game has evolved.
We couldn't go get dinner.
You couldn't have peanut butter put on your bagel, okay?
No extra benefits at all. But I'm glad where college basketball is right now. I think being able to capitalize on your name, image, and likeness will set these young players up for a future.
And Gillespie and Ament have certainly capitalized so far here for Tennessee. They have really led the way in this first half.
Yes, Gillespie, Ament. It's like Tennessee has them and Rutgers doesn't. I mean, you talk about 12 of 18 combined from the field. Gillespie knocking down that free throw. They've done a great job of playing off one another as well. Ament took that little break, went out, came back, and has been aggressive ever since.
A luxury to have a guy like Gillespie who gets you 6 assists a game, but can also do what he's doing now. He's got 21 points.
Well, that's the power of understanding. You got to have a plan when you go to the paint. There's a lot of guards that go in there and have no idea. Gillespie goes in there under control. You talk about at the next level being able to play at your own pace. Well, Gillespie has mastered that.
Inside of 3 minutes. Berg wraps around a pass, but a little too much wide of Estrella.
And Berg points up at the basket. He should have given it to Estrella up towards the rim as Boswell comes back in on the defensive end.
Yeah, Estrella looked at him like, hey, I'm 6'11", just go up top with it.
That was always my favorite thing as a post player. It's like, there's a lot more space up in the air.
And I can out-jump these people around me.
Token pressure for Tennessee being able to extend their defense, deny the passing lane has been the story. Rutgers staying within striking distance because of the free throw line.
Yeah, the fouls, that's about the only thing that has gone the way of the Scarlet Knights. Every possession's like a root canal on this end. Buchanan.
Well, the inability to penetrate the defense, I mean, you got to give credit to not only the size in the front court, but also as Gillespie's just having his way. He is picking whatever he wants to do down the court. Started off with a little dose of beyond the arc and is now tearing the Rutgers defense apart with penetration.
I saw him a lot last year at Maryland. He had some tremendous games. I've never seen him this good. He is dominant right now. Francis splits the defenders, but it was disrupted by Akpara. There's a push inside, and that's going to be against Rutgers. Let's go over to the mill.
Hey guys, valuing each possession is so critical like you're talking about, and that was a hard lesson for Rutgers on Friday in their loss to Central Connecticut State. I talked to Tariq Francis and he told me, listen, we let a couple possessions get away and then all of a sudden there was a snowball effect. They gave up 13 offensive rebounds. They also allowed 10 turnovers, and those same numbers are starting to pile up here in this game. They need to clean that up if they want to get back in this one in the second half.
Yeah, that's exactly what Steve Peichel said in the press conference after that game. Those are areas that might continue to haunt Rutgers this season.
Well, the biggest thing for Rutgers is they've established themselves as an amazing defensive team. They're holding their opponents thus far to 64 points per game, but you're not going to pitch a shutout. You got to find ways to score on the offensive end, and when you're not turning your opponent over and getting fast break points, what does your half-court offense look like? We talked about before the game. 4 returning players, only 4 returning players. So you're dealing, like others in college basketball, figuring things out on the offensive end.
Well, last year they had those 2 talented players, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, both top 5 picks. They don't have that offense anymore. Buchanan, though, provides a little surge. Count the bucket.
And Buchanan calling his own number, going one-on-one. And this is the way that Rutgers is going to have to score. Tennessee's going to take you out of your continuity. Buchanan doing a good job attacking the foot speed of Estrella. Estrella felt like he went straight up. He leaned a little bit into the contact. See if Buchanan can get Rutgers feeling a little bit better going into halftime.
They have been able to pick up 2 fouls on Estrella, on Brown, and on Carey. So the front court for Tennessee in a bit of foul trouble, but they're still up big.
Well, basketball is a game of runs, and sometimes it is about feeling good going into halftime. And so if Rutgers can defend on this end and get a couple buckets, they could get themselves back into this game.
Amen trying to get to his spot, pulling up. Wow, that's next level right there from Nate Amen.
And that's against a much smaller guard. Amen putting it on the floor. Smaller guards, they want to stand you up. They want to make things difficult. They want to be physical. Davis reaching in. Amen just gets to his spot and rises up. That's the thing. That's the beauty of someone that has the size that Amen has. The wingspan 7'1", the reach 9 foot, that if you just are calm, cool, and collected and play at your pace, you can get what you want.
Man, Davis is 6'2". That was a tough matchup. Amen now has 17. Tennessee has 52 here in the first half. Falling down, Butterlow. Taken away. Estrella, hello!
And I'm no doctor, but I think that knee looks pretty good. Estrella rising for the jam on that play, that fast break. I was talking about Rutgers trying to feel good going into halftime. The Volunteers must have heard me because they have gone on an absolute run, done so on the defensive end and sparked by Amen's individual play. You talk about right here, Boswell, you know if there's a loose ball, he's gonna get it. Estrella doing a great job of trailing the play. Hey, reward the big. I'm all about rewarding the big, Brandon.
Hey, there's medicine in that orange pill, Candace. So if you got an injury, Estrella, sometimes getting out there, it's a nice cure. And yeah, he rose. That was a nice slam.
There's any sign right there. You lay that up if you're a little hampered. That was a throwdown. I love the energy that Tennessee is playing with right now, sparked by their defense. They've stopped committing fouls away from the basket, and they know that if they can set their defense against Rutgers, they're gonna have trouble scoring.
Those guys just a stone's throw from us. Halftime will be presented by Modelo. Adam, Jalen, Jamal, and C-Web up there ready to take over in less than a minute.
Man, we got college basketball royalty in Lefko up there.
Yeah.
I hope he can hear me.
Well, now that's how I feel too, Candace. Sitting next to you, Lefko and I, we can commiserate a little bit. You know,
Lefko, of course, is pulling for Syracuse, went there for college, so see what he has to say about the Orangemen.
We'll see them later today. 5 seconds on the shot clock.
And this right here is the type of defense that you can expect from a Rick Barnes Tennessee Volunteers team coming out of a timeout. If you're a coach out there and you want a textbook defensive play, you just watched it. Boswell in a stance, the length of Akpara and Ament taking on the challenge one-on-one, a jump switch up to touch, a help by your 7'1" wingspan small forward, and then again, Boswell was one-on-one. That entire play, let's see what Tennessee draws up coming out of the timeout because their defense looks stellar.
Those two have been the scorers, Ament and Gillespie. Tennessee up 24, and they can hold here for the final shot.
As those two combine for 40 of Tennessee's 54 points. It's been a heavy dose from the outside, a little bit from the inside, a little bit from the free throw line.
And on defense, too. Inside of 5 seconds, it's Nate Ament time. Tap back at the buzzer to put the Vols up 26.
And welcome back, JP Estrella. Has had some amazing hustle plays to end this play. Ament, tough banker. Estrella, I got your back. Rutgers spread out, can't rebound. And right here, Tennessee's got to feel good, going up 56-30 into halftime.
Dominant Meanwhile, Rutgers, 9 turnovers, only 8 field goals. It is all Vols at the break. Modelo halftime with Adam and the guys after this. Welcome back to the Geico Players Era on TNT. Tennessee, dominant first 20 minutes, leading at 56-30 over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights here at MGM Grand Arena. Let's take a look at today's Geico game summary. And the numbers, as you would imagine, heavily favor the Tennessee Volunteers. 9 turnovers for Rutgers, only 8 field goals, and dominant for Tennessee on both sides of the ball. Brandon Gaunt, Candace Parker, and look who we found. Another legend at Tennessee, and Bruce Pearl, former head coach there, of course. Coach, appreciate you being here. That was a really impressive 20 minutes for the Vols.
Yeah, it was more about Tennessee being outstanding at both ends of the floor than Rutgers not doing very well. I picked the Tennessee team, Candace, to win this thing, which is a little bit bold, but their front line is so big, and Gillespie's pretty important.
And I think from a coach that has hung his hat on defense and pressure and boxing out and finishing plays, how do you assess Tennessee's defense thus far? Obviously, the first 5 games of the season, competition wasn't up to standard, really. And they played 5 games at Tennessee, but now on this stage, how do you assess their defense?
Well, they're excited about playing, and Rick Barnes' team is going to be physical, but they're going to do a really good job of not fouling you, and that'd be the one thing I think Tennessee would try to improve on here in the second half.
Well, it was that Gillespie performance, obviously, but Nate Ament started quiet. Rick Barnes called him over, had a chat with him, then he started to heat up, and he has 17. Driving inside, are they going to count that bucket? The officials consulting on whether they're going to give that for Dylan Grant, and they will.
And I can only imagine what the conversations at halftime had to be with Coach Peichel and his team. They understand the value of getting into the paint, not shying away from contact. They left some points on the board in the first half from the free throw line, and it's a good start for that team.
And so what do? You go right to Dylan Grant. You go right inside. He takes it right through the contact and gets to the foul line. He was a sort of a forgotten freshman last year for Rutgers, had a solid year, and he's a guy I know that they're really counting on.
Unable to complete the 3-point play. Let's go over and check back in with Nabil.
Yeah, guys, Candace, you were asking the question about Coach Peichel and what he said at the half. Well, I did talk to him, and he said he really reiterated the rebounding. He said they've been talking about it for days now, and they're getting hurt in that department. The second shots, extra possessions, really killing them. Asked him about Gillespie and Amen. How do you possibly just slow them down a little bit? He said, listen, they're a real tough guard, obviously, but he wants his guys to get the ball out of their hands and then not let them get it back.
It's just such a tough task for anybody. Late shot clock. Here's Gillespie again. And Rutgers rebound to Obolde.
And to Nabil's point, Tennessee is a team, doesn't leave many rebounds out there. Plus 19 rebound margin on the year. Today doing a great job with 11 in that first half.
Foley cannot get it. You're seeing it right there again. And unfortunately, Nate Ament for Tennessee traveled, but Coach, the length of the Vols, it just jumps right off the page when you look out there, Adam.
Well, when Nate Ament's got a 7'1" wingspan, and he's the 3rd biggest guy out there on the floor for Tennessee, that tells you how challenging it's going to be to finish at the rim. You talk about pace. You know, Tennessee only took 32 shots in that first half, but Tennessee just so efficient in every possession.
Super efficient. Obviously, the game was slowed down a bit in the middle because Rutgers getting in the bonus early in that second half, but Tennessee doing a good job of, when they score, being able to set their defense, and nobody in the country wants to play against a half-court Rick Barnes defense.
No, and it's going to take a while every possession because Tennessee's not going to force turnovers. They're not going to gamble too much. They're just going to be super solid. But that's what they've got to improve on right there, Brandon. They've got to cut down those turnovers. You know, I meant just trying to do too much.
And that's something Rick Barnes talked about. Candace, you mentioned it earlier. They've so far coming into this tournament, almost 15 turnovers a game, and that was against lesser opponents. Now you're starting to face some of the big boys. We'll see how they handle it.
And again, without Zakai Ziegler, probably having to walk through sets and things that you haven't had to before because you've had a point guard that has had a lot of time, a lot of experience under Rick Barnes' offense, also acclimating a top 5 recruit in Nate Ament. So it's going to take time for this Tennessee offense, but you got to take care of the basketball and have more possessions.
Well, Rutgers does look better so far this half. There's Dylan Grant with 2 more.
Look at Coach Peichel over at the bench. I mean, he's willing these guys to stay in this basketball game.
When you're this far down, how do you coach if you're Steve Peichel right now, right? You got to do it in segments, Coach?
One possession at a time, take 4 minutes. You know, win this 4 minutes. Like, come out right now. Don't worry about the score of the game. We got before the first TV timeout. Let's see if we can win this. I think right now, what they're playing them even, right? Maybe they've even slightly got the lead in the second half.
Yeah, they've scored all 4 in the second half so far, and the Scarlet Knights.
And the thing at this juncture in the season, you understand basketball is a game of runs, but basketball is also a game of feeling. And feeling good going into playing a big matchup as Gillespie gets back to what he was doing in the first half is huge. They're going to face a physical Houston team tomorrow. They're going to face a team that's big, strong, defensive pressure. So if you're turning the ball over off of mistakes, you got to be careful with tomorrow because that will only ignite the Houston offense.
You know what I'm curious to see tomorrow, Candace, is who beside Gillespie in the backcourt is going to step up. Because right now, he is the key to this team. He is doing everything for the Vols. Who's going to be that other guard to step in? Because it's always been, you know, it was Meshack and it was Ziegler. It was, you know, oh, this beautiful OB here. Curl, and a great finish with the offhand.
The thing I've been most impressed with Gillespie this far has been he's playing at his own pace. He's not putting his head down and figuring it out. He has a plan when he goes into the lane.
And he got into the lane there, and he found Nate Ament.
I mean, you just can't teach high IQ basketball. Gillespie's played a lot of basketball, but to have a point guard that's able to get others involved and also call his own number has been what has been on display today.
It is. I love his pace. And Candace, how excited is he to come back home? You know, he starts at Belmont, a high mid-major program, gets his first high major shot at Maryland, does great, and then the Tennessee Vols come calling. He used to come to my basketball camp way back in the day. He was a little undersized, but you could tell he was a winner.
And right here on this play, I love Rick Barnes' offense. It's a lot of pin downs, a lot of curls, and a lot of flare actions. Nate Ament doing a good job playing off of that dribble drive. Gillespie under control, playing at home for the Volunteers. Coach, there's nothing like going home and playing basketball in front of your family and friends. And will I say winning a championship in front of your family and friends, there's nothing like that.
Well, and you say he went to your camps. He grew up a huge Vols fan, so for him, this is a thrill.
Yeah, this is what he's been working his whole life for. He's taken, you know, full advantage of the moment. You know, Candace, you talk about throwing the ball to Matt, and the shot clock's running down. That's the best look they're going to get it.
They just have not been able to penetrate inside. Offensive rebound, though, for Obole. Grant lost it. They're going to get Ament with the personal.
And I understand that that was a foul call on Tennessee. But did you see the backside help of Akpara coming through to block that shot? Rutgers going to the line when we come back.
Vols cruising right now in Vegas, up big over Rutgers. Well, I got a couple of Tennessee legends to my right, and Bruce Pearl and Candace Parker. So that got us thinking, what about the Vols basketball Mount Rushmore? What do you guys think of this crew?
Ooh, I like it. Shout out to my boy Chris Lofton up there.
That's it. I mean, it's got to start with Bernard King.
Bernard King,
you got to start
100%.
with Bernard King, right?
100%.
And then Allen Houston didn't win big at Tennessee, but obviously had an unbelievable career. Candace Parker, one of the top 5 women to ever play this game, for the greatest basketball coach I've ever known in Pat Summitt.
That takes you back, doesn't it, Candace?
We had the pleasure of being there. Look at Bruce Pearl. Look at that. Look at the orange tie. Coach loved her some Bruce Pearl. We had a great time. I remember when you painted your chest for our Duke game, and Coach returned the favor by wearing a cheerleading outfit and doing a cheer during a
our game against
timeout.
Florida.
Yes,
a timeout
against
of Florida.
Yep.
you know, you guys had gone to Duke the year before, and Duke beat y'all, and they treated you so badly. And I said to my guys, I say, man, we are going to go ahead and we're going to be like the Camden Indoor Crazies. And so we spelled out Go Vols. I was the V, and the only thing Ving on my body was the letter V. Nothing else. I mean, this was like the Incredible Bulk. It was not a good look. And my wife said, you know what, honey, America, it's seen quite enough of your body.
Well, that was the best, and I think that during those years, I realized how cool it was that we were combined. We were a family, and again, Chris Lofton, still to this day, is one of my best friends, and so I think there was a lot of camaraderie built during that and a lot of wins.
Yeah.
You know, it's always more fun when you're winning.
You know, Candace, sometimes programs, they compete against each other, you know, and they recognize, like, we didn't, when it came to Lady, I was like, the Lady Vols were the ones that had the brand. We were just trying to live up to what you guys were doing.
What a block by Akpara. Everything just continues to be so difficult on this end for Rutgers. I think we're back. 61-38, 5 minutes gone by second half.
And again, right there, I sound like a broken record about the length of Tennessee. You get past one lengthy defender, and guess what's waiting for you? Another one. Rutgers being able to capitalize on that offensive rebound, but again, Akpara, gosh, getting up, blocking it amongst the stars.
Well, I was watching Coach Barnes' practice yesterday, and one of the things that he was emphasizing is jumping to the ball and seeing the ball. If you don't see the ball as a defender when you're off the ball, you have no idea when it's time to rotate. And because Tennessee has got that kind of length, you got to see it to be able to go over there and rotate and make that play. What Rutgers has got to find a way to do is get the ball up on the rim and then take advantage of Tennessee sending multiple guys to block a shot and then go rebound the backside.
And right here, just a gimme dunk. Akpara rejects. Coach, you talked about Rick Barnes, you know, in practice yesterday and defense. One thing I know coaches are excited about is shell drill. The one thing I know players aren't excited about is shell drill. And I must say that during my time at Tennessee, when you were there, I remember the energy and effort that you put into jumping, seeing the ball. Ball you, man.
Candace, practice makes permanent. It doesn't make perfect. And so if you practice it at a certain pace and a certain tempo and you're not intense, that's why oftentimes we would have non-contact practices, because when we had contact practices, lock the doors. I mean, chain them. I mean, we want to have practices more physical and more difficult than anything we want to see. And that was hard to do when you're playing against a Rick Barnes team.
Well, you guys overlapped there 3 years, right?
Yes, we did.
Inside Akpara, all alone.
Now, there were some stories that we could talk about, and there are other stories we can't talk about. But Candace was a beautiful young student athlete at Tennessee. She was dating one of my guys, and she was talking to 2 or 3 others at the same time.
You can't air her dirty laundry like that, Coach. Come on now.
Hey, Candace, you remember there were a couple times I would come to you and say, honey, please don't break up with him tonight, right? You remember this? I literally did. And she would be like, okay. We had that relationship. Candace was mature beyond her years.
I was in your office and talking to you, and I think that that's the thing that I love about the University of Tennessee is the relationships and, you know, the stuff that will stay in 2004 to 2008.
Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so we'll leave those stories right here at the table. Mark in the corner, and Amen high for the rebound.
And if you're Tennessee, you got to be careful. You still have to have your level of play, your expectation on the offensive end. You've executed well through Gillespie and through Amen in the first half.
Golly, Gillespie, a new career high, 28 points. Coach, I remember watching him at Belmont last year at Maryland, but this is an even better version of him here today.
Yeah, it really is. He is running the show. There was a fast break there. He could have easily taken that shot. He pulled it out. He got him organized, and they weren't guarding him. And they're telling me he just flat out does not miss in practice. This is a real breakout game for him. Tomorrow against Houston, he's going to see a little different defense than he's seeing tonight against Rutgers.
And I got to believe, obviously, Houston has their eyes on Syracuse, but they're watching, and their guards who can defend freshman phenom Flemings, as we saw him step up against Auburn the other day in that matchup. But they are going going to have their work cut out for him, but Gillespie's going to have to learn to play with size and physicality, and they're not going to let him walk into threes.
Yeah, that's tomorrow, Houston, Tennessee, Elite Eight rematch. You got Barnes, Kelvin Sampson. What a matchup. Back to that Gillespie triple.
And right here, I know Coach up to touch is something that I heard over and over in college on screens. Switch to touch, up to touch, and there wasn't a lot of touching on that screen.
No, and Candace, you know, I used to talk about was switch out. If you're going to switch, don't lateral switch. Switch out and have some impact. And obviously, that's a great look at on the basket, a bounce play.
Well, they had it just a little wide on the throw to Estrella. Steve Pikiell getting in some of his guys who don't see a lot of time right now, like Powers, as well as Lino out there.
And Caden Powers, we all know and love Jamal Crawford. He is one of Jamal Crawford's mentees, so I know he probably got a little bit of a handle. If you're in the gym with Jamal Crawford, you're gonna have something in your bag.
Yeah, no doubt. Bucket getter, right?
Down inside, Javonte Ware has it stripped. Gillespie carries it out of there.
You talk about the size that Boswell gave up on that play, not giving up, using his physicality.
He wants 3 more. Oh my goodness. He's over 30 now is Jacoby Gillespie.
He is feeling it. That's just all there is to it. And at some point, with about 12 minutes to go, Rick Barnes, the staff, is going to go, Coach, when do we get him out? Because we got 2 more games in 2 days.
You've been in that spot, though. The player doesn't want to come out when they're having a game like this.
That's true, but I'll tell you what he wants to do. He wants to find out who's going to come in behind him. Who's the next guy? No, he didn't.
He finally missed. Is he going to shoot it again?
I wouldn't have been mad if he did. A double heat check.
I think Boswell has got to be that next guy. They're confident in defensively. That's a tough 2 in traffic.
And it's amazing to see him back out here healthy as he calls for the sub. He gives every single thing on every single possession. Again, Rick Barnes calls him the best defender on this Tennessee team, and they're going to need something for him. I'm with you, Coach, on the offensive end as well.
Well, that's going to get him out there. And that's going to get him out there to quote what kind of teammate you are, how unselfish you are, and how you defend and whether or not you defend physically. You know, Rick Barnes is a guy, too, that will be straight up with the canvas. He is going to talk to you. He is not going to lie to you. You know, Coach Summit was that way, too. She kept it real with you all the time. She held you accountable, and therefore you developed the trust.
And that's what you need. You want honesty as a player. You want a coach that tells you sometimes what you don't want to hear, but what you need to hear, because they know what's going to get you there.
Well, Coach Summit is looking down with a smile right now. Her Vols of 74-40. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Unbelievable couple days of college basketball. Let's just sit on the couch and let's enjoy it.
It is time for the Geico moments of the game, and those are provided by one Jacoby Gillespie.
Yes, there are times when your guards are able to control the game, and Gillespie, from start to finish, has done just that. Opened up the Vols offense with 3 early threes, and then has continued in the second half. The basket is as big as the ocean. 31 points, 4 assists, and he's done a great job of igniting his running mate in Nate Ament. 20 points, 7 of 12. You talk about efficiency. There were questions about the Vols on the offensive end. I think those questions have been answered.
Yeah, because this is, again, Rutgers, you may say, oh, they don't look good. They lost to Central Connecticut State, but their DNA is on defense. So to do this against them, this is pretty impressive.
Well, the thing you want to do is, you know, against Tennessee, is you want to make them take contested outside jump shots. Well, guess what? They took contested outside jump shots. They made them early, and then that opened up the ability to spread the wealth offensively. Gillespie has played at his own pace. He has made solid decisions. I think he's looked very, very good for this Tennessee offense early on.
Been tremendous. And again, we want to thank Coach Bruce Pearl for joining us. Ooh, hard fall there, but Estrella appears to be okay. But such a thrill for me to sit next to you and Coach Pearl talking your days at Tennessee. And such a good guy to have on our team. Obviously, what he did at Tennessee, he kind of started building things towards where they are now under Rick Barnes.
Well, the expectations raised when Coach got there. When Bruce Pearl got there, those expectations for what they were doing on the male side of the court raised. And I think the people in Knoxville noticed during that era of basketball was some of the best basketball that the Volunteers have played. And then Rick Barnes has come in and raised that bar even higher.
Taking them now to back-to-back Elite Eights. Still knocking on the door, waiting for that Final Four appearance. Into the shot clock. Stripped. Good defense there by Powers. On the other end, hanging, but the bucket short by Davis.
And I got to give it to Davis. I got to give it to Grant. I got to give it to Francis. They've continued to play hard, continued to try to compete on the defensive end, which is where Rutgers hangs their hat, only holding opponents to 64 points per game. And that's what you have to do when you're a team that's trying to figure it out. You never know when the tide's going to turn and when you're able to figure things out on the offensive end.
Down inside, Brown, the freshman, with a bounce. Kid we haven't talked about much, but Mr. Basketball in Alabama, Rick Barnes said maybe our biggest surprise is number 6. Expects him to have a big year. Mid-range jumper for Francis. And Rutgers is going to take a timeout inside of 9 minutes. But this one is all about the number 17 team in the land, the Tennessee Volunteers. Welcome back to the Geico Players Era. Day 1 coverage on TNT presented by Sam's Club. Bill Self, his Jayhawks up next against Notre Dame here at MGM Grand Arena. We mentioned all of the legendary coaches that are in this event. Barnes, Coach Cal, Self, Sampson. I mean, you go down the list. It's really incredible, Candace.
That is a lot of math and a lot of W's. If you talk about the history, what these coaches have done for college basketball in general, I just love the fact that we get to witness this. At this point in the season, to see some great teams in action, to see then where they're at in March, and then also witness some great coaches that we're going to be able to tell our grandkids we watch coach one day.
Well, second year of the event, they did announce it's going to expand to 32 teams next year, up from 18. So going to have even more good teams out here. There's a finish on the follow, and the lead continues to grow for Coach Barnes' Vols.
And although this game is well out of hand, if you're Rutgers, if you're Tennessee, these minutes matter. You're trying to work yourself into the rotation. You're trying to prove that you're able to continue to add to what the program is trying to achieve. As Davis steps in and knocks down for 3, that's one thing. Davis has competed this entire game. So these minutes matter, especially in a coach's eyes.
Well, Steve Peichel always says, if you don't give it 40 minutes, regardless of the score, you're not in my program. And you can tell those guys, they've got that mentality despite being down big. Way off from Evans. And Candace, they've got to turn around and play tomorrow. So you can't sit here and sulk about this. You got to continue to compete. Rutgers will have Notre Dame in game 2 tomorrow. Buchanan with a tough finish.
Well, Rutgers has had success attacking closeouts off of ball reversals. The thing is, at times, Tennessee's defense doesn't allow you to get to that backside. So Rutgers has to do a better job of, in their game, in their matchup tomorrow, attacking off backside help.
A little too much attack there from Amari Evans, picking up the foul. Another media timeout in game 1 at MGM Grand Arena in Vegas. Time now for the Sam's Club plays of the game. A lot of assists for Tennessee.
Yes, Tennessee. This is the season of giving, and Tennessee has done just that. Early in the season, they've averaged 22 assists per game. They've made things easy in this half-court offense. They spread the wealth. Boswell with 5 assists, Gillespie with 4, Ament with 3. You put the ball in your playmakers' hands. You trust their decision-making. I love the way Rick Barnes' offense has looked, especially with Gillespie igniting it, calling his own number, but then also spreading the wealth.
That is our Geico assist leaderboard. Rick Barnes has to love what he has seen from his team, but you know that when this one ends and they're in the locker room, he's going to say, guys, this is wonderful, it's great, but we've got Houston in less than 24 hours.
And that's the toughest thing. When you have back-to-back games, you can't dwell on losses and you can't celebrate and dwell on wins. You got to move on to the next opponent. The next opponent is going to bring different challenges and a different game plan.
Zerno off balance. Boswell up ahead. Knocked out of bounds by Davis. It'll stay with Tennessee.
And I'm a little bit surprised. I understand you can't let a career night go to waste, but Gillespie, career day. I guess we're still at 11.
Career morning. Yeah.
Gillespie back out there, up nearly 30, 31, running this Tennessee offense.
Turnover here. And Davis finishes. It's a good point, Candace, and you and Coach Pearl were talking about it earlier in the half. When will Coach Barnes give Gillespie a rest? I thought he may do it by now, but still on the floor.
And Nate Ament.
Yes. And Gillespie, ooh, air ball. Hey, just give him the assist.
Just like you planned, just like you drew it up.
Cade Phillips was Johnny on the spot to dunk it home.
And Phillips and Okpara, their length has guarded the rim so well against this Rutgers team. You talk about Rutgers struggling to get into the paint. Just there now.
Now they do it. Buchanan.
Now Buchanan takes advantage of a mismatch against Gillespie, but Rutgers has really struggled to operate in the paint with only 18 paint points to Tennessee's 36 today.
He thought about it. Now he'll penetrate, try to get to the rim, and he's going to get to the line. Davis with his third personal foul.
And it just seems that Gillespie is not rattled. Pressure doesn't bother him. He's able to play at his pace and make you choose wrong, whether it's stepping out, being confident and knocking down the three, or putting the ball on the floor and being patient with getting to the rack.
He already has a career high 31. Misses the first. TNT Sports coverage of the Players Era is presented by Lilly, a medicine company, and also by Geico. It feels good to Geico.
And as a player there, Brandon, you're looking up saying 33 sounds so much better than 32.
You want every one, right?
As Gillespie's coming out, I think that's it for today. But as a player, you're in a game like this, a career high, you want more.
Well, take a bow, Jacoby Gillespie. 34 points, or 32 points rather, in 29 minutes here today. Davis attacks and bumped by Boswell with 5:11 remaining.
You talk about two competitors going at it. Davis getting to the paint, Boswell preventing him from getting to the paint. On that defensive sequence, you had Boswell in help, getting back out, closing out, taking away the three, but Davis not settling and still getting into the paint.
Something that Steve Peichel felt Rutgers didn't do last year was attack the rack as well. Settle for a three there. Good look, but off the mark. But it's such a different team from a year ago when they had those two top 5 picks in Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. But Steve Peichel said those guys were great. We loved having them. They were one and done, but want to get back to our defensive DNA. But clearly they've got some answers on the offensive side they've got to figure out. Buchanan, yes.
Buchanan Jr. Timeout, Rutgers.
And Rutgers will take the timeout, and we'll step aside with them. Inside of 5 minutes left, all Tennessee. Well, the season underway. Every week, the stakes rise higher. Don't miss Big 12 football Saturdays on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. This week, number 23 Houston traveling to Waco to take on Baylor. Noon Eastern is the kick this Saturday. You can see Coach Peichel still talking about his guys, and I was referencing it before the break, Candace, but it was such a different team last year. It was only a few years ago that Steve Peichel guided Rutgers to back-to-back NCAA tournaments for the first time since the 70s. So his formula has worked there, but this year the roster, it is constructed so much different than a season ago.
Well, it's constructed different through the pipeline of freshmen, through the pipeline of transfers, which is what we're seeing in NCAA basketball. And the ability to adjust throughout the season is what's crucial. You want to figure out all the kinks before conference play, and you want to be feeling good about your defense and your offense. Well, one thing's checked off the box. Rutgers can defend. They've proven that in the way that they make things tough for the opponents, but they've got to figure out where they can go when they need a bucket on the offensive end.
Because all their scorers, Dylan Grant at the top of the list, those guys for the most part have been held in check here today by Tennessee. Freshman star Nate Ament still on the floor. Cannot follow up his miss.
And I think that's the next evolution of Nate's game. He's got to be able to get to his spot, rise above contact, and take good shots on that possession.
Yeah, we've seen him hit some threes. He had a couple in the mid-range, but you want to see Nate Ament get inside more?
Well, Nate's going to play against defenders that are smaller and stronger than him at the small forward position, and he has to do a better job of figuring out ways to get shots off against smaller defenders.
Wall-to-wall coverage today on TNT and True TV. Baylor Creighton over on True TV right now at the half with the Bears up 8. Our next game here at MGM Grand Arena, Notre Dame and Kansas. Kansas will be without their star Darren Peterson, but they've looked solid in losses to North Carolina and Duke. See if they can get the win today against the Fighting Irish. Tennessee absolute domination with just inside of 4 minutes left. Nate Ament is now on the bench, so Rick Barnes has removed both him and Gillespie.
And Tennessee going to this flex offense, a lot of down screens, a lot of back screens, utilizing that length and athleticism at the front court, but
yeah, they're not going to count that.
Abram didn't get the shot off in time.
Not much of an argument when you're up 28 with 3:29 to go.
Well, if you're Rick Barnes, he's sitting back in his chair mad. So I don't know if that applies to Coach Barnes.
As you mentioned earlier, he got that lifetime contract back at the end of August, and Rick Barnes and AD Danny White. Pretty simple in his statement. He said, Rick has taken our program to unprecedented heights, and it's hard to argue with that.
One of the premier teams that has been featured in the last Elite Eights, Sweet 16. You know, you've got a couple coaches here that haven't been able to get over the hump, and it's just when March rolls around and April rolls around, you just root for those guys. If there's anybody that deserves a national championship, it's Rick Barnes and what he has done at programs like Texas and the University of Tennessee.
He had that one Final Four at Texas with TJ Ford back in 2003, but you're right, with all those wins, 841. Like that's the one thing, the one box that he hasn't checked off.
And as a competitor, I'm sure Rick Barnes wants that, but he understands that it's bigger than that. You know, it is about, I think the thing that Coach Summit said to me that made me want to be a part of the Vol Nation was the fact that, you know, basketball is about life, and it's about what these guys do after the ball stops bouncing, and to see the type of relationship that he has with his past players is truly special.
Say that for a lot of our veteran coaches in this tournament. Brown, Carey on the weak side and a foul. With Brown and Carey, they look like they could be playing defensive end in the NFL. Those are big bodies out there for the Vols.
And Brown getting it up on the glass. And Carey finishing the work on the weak side. Good luck to Rutgers. Stopping one from getting to the paint and keeping one blocked out from rebounding the offensive rebound.
Well, college football's biggest stage returns, and the stakes, they could not be higher. College football playoff kicks off December 19th and 20th with first-round coverage presented by Allstate. Speaking of football, Jalen Carey, his dad Vernon, 340-pound offensive lineman at Miami, 8 seasons for the Dolphins in the NFL. So you can see where he gets that size.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And as a parent of a child that has chosen another sport, I understand the pain of his father. My daughter's chosen volleyball, and that is her passion. I support it.
But I was going to say, I guarantee you bought in, you love it, right?
Well, one of my kids has to play it. One of my kids has to play at Tennessee. Obviously, we'll see Syracuse later with the likes of Kai and Anthony. I mean, it's got to be a great feeling if you're Carmelo, where your son is going to your alma mater to lace up the Jays.
And that freshman, Kai and Anthony, off to a good start, almost 15 points a game. Be fun to see him on this stage. Carey, there's the football background, just bowling his way to the basket.
And I don't think we have to ask him which way the weight room is.
No, he knows. This time he rises for the rebound, but he turns it over, and a dunk for Lino Mark, the freshman from LA.
And Lino Mark, Coach Peichel put him in that Central Connecticut game to provide energy, and he did just that. And so I could see Coach Peichel alluding to go with youth, with energy, with effort to get Rutgers' season back on track.
Good use of the shot fake by Carey. And there's Mark again, aggressive, and he's going to get to the line. Of course, for Jalen Carey, don't forget about his brother Vernon Jr., All-American at Duke a few years ago, then to the pros. So, yeah, Dad Vernon Sr., he lost both kids to the sport of basketball.
Lost 2 to the game.
I assume, though, your daughter, because of the genes, great volleyball player.
Yes, we're loving, we're growing.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to understand what it takes to be an athlete on whatever level that you're at. It takes work, it takes time, it takes working on your own. So all the athletes out there that aspire to play at a collegiate level or beyond, you have to want it. You know, Coach Summit used to always talk about, I can't start your engine. I'll rev it, but I'm not going to start your engine.
So now you pass that on to your daughter.
Yes,
right?
I'm of course.
Or maybe you're trying to start and rev that engine. I don't know.
You try to start and ignite the mindset.
And in the passing lane for Powers, but ultimately Tennessee keeps. 3 ball off the mark from Evans. Approaching the final minute, Lino Mark, he is quick. And back to the line for the freshman.
Lino Mark doing a great job of putting pressure on Tennessee's transition defense. Tennessee, we've talked about half-court defensive team, tough to score against. Well, you counter that by scoring in transition. He's got some fly shoes on, too. Bedazzled ball.
It's like the trophy.
Shoes.
It's like the Players Era trophy. You just got to learn how to lace them up a little tighter.
Just catching his breath. He's been up and back these last 2 trips.
4-star freshman from Los Angeles.
And that's what you want to do when you're coming back, playing on the West Coast, going to school on the East Coast. Your family probably doesn't get to see you play a lot. And he's playing hard until the final buzzer for sure.
Gets both at the line. These two teams' 3rd ever meeting. They had not met since 1992, and Rutgers, they might not want to see Tennessee for a while after this one. It has been all Vols from the jump. Henderson Rutgers here in the final minute. Lob up top, but a little wide and a turnover.
Just a couple off the mark lobs. Throwing like Zion Williamson's out here playing basketball.
Well, it's still early in the season. Guys are getting the feel down. Rutgers was in this event last year, said happy to be back, especially with the NIL money that gets distributed here. Tennessee first time playing in Vegas since '82. It's been that long since this program has played a game here. But they're liking it right now. Backdoor extra pass. Off the mark for Brown, though.
Did he just catch that out of bounds?
But they're giving the ball, yeah, to Tennessee because of that. Shot clock didn't reset.
Looked like Dortch had
a little brain lapse.
A little brain lapse for sure.
Final seconds. Zerno can't get it. That's kind of how this one has gone for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. One last attempt at the buzzer. Absolute domination for Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Volunteers. 85-60 over Rutgers. Really pretty impressive start to finish.
Pretty impressive. And again, Gillespie, if you didn't tune in, he had himself a game inside, outside. Sharing is caring. And then the star, Nate Ament, shoe-in lottery pick, was on full display. Tennessee had themselves a solid game, and let's see. I think the nation wants to see what they've got against Houston tomorrow.
It's going to be an incredible matchup. Elite Eight rematch tomorrow when Tennessee and Houston battle here in Vegas. But right now, Rocky Top rains down at MGM Grand Arena.
Fans, be sure to stick around for game 2 of this session. With the Kansas Jayhawks taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Steve Peichel and the Scarlet Knights will try to pick up the pieces tomorrow in game 2 of this tournament against Notre Dame. But that man, Jacoby Gillespie, so good. Career high 32 points. Nabil is with Coach Barnes.
Coach, how impressive was Jacoby today for you?
He was. You know, I thought he's getting better and better, knowing how not just to take care of himself, but how to take care of our team, and a really good all-around effort. So much respect for Steve Peichel and Rutgers, and we knew coming in that we're going to have to be ready from the get-go, and proud of our guys for being ready and shot the ball well. You know, when you're making shots, it makes everything else a little bit better.
I got to ask you about Nate, because it seemed like he was a little passive at the beginning of the game. You took him out, you had a conversation with him. What was said?
No, I think he's starting to really understand the game. Nate's a very intelligent player, he's got a great basketball IQ, and he's starting to feel his way through it as opposed to trying to be overly aggressive he was at earlier, but he's only going to get better and better.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, whatever he said or didn't say, it worked. Nate Ament woke up and ended up having 20 points, 5 rebounds, and a few assists as well. We step aside. So much more to come. More games, great studio coverage. But in the first one, it is all Tennessee. 85-60 over the Scarlet Knights.